I caught my fiancée cheating through our neighbor's window, right in the middle of the act with him. The night seemed quiet, or at least that's what I thought. My fiancée lay next to me snoring, but as I woke up, something felt off. She wasn't there. I peeked out the window and noticed a light in our neighbor's house. Shockingly, I saw her in the arms of our friend, closely connected. I was furious. Without hesitation, I hurried towards them. Their expressions were priceless as they saw me coming. My fiancée knelt, her face filled with agony, begging for forgiveness. However, forgiving her was the last thing on my mind. We've been together for 5 years. She's 43, and I'm 47. I was eager to marry her and even splurged on a $9,530 engagement ring, planning to propose this Christmas. Unfortunately, my plans took a sudden turn when I caught her cheating on me. Not much of a drinker, I declined my next-door neighbor's invite to a small fire pit party, choosing to go to bed early because of work at 5 a.m. on Monday. That night, I went to bed early, feeling a bit tired. A few hours later, I woke up to find my girlfriend missing. Assuming she was still at the neighbor's party, I walked to the second bedroom upstairs, which has a window facing the backyard. What I saw there was shocking. From my window, I had a clear view of my neighbor's yard, and only 3 people remained: my neighbor, her brother, and my girlfriend. It was around midnight, and my girlfriend was sitting next to the neighbor's brother. My neighbor started walking towards her house, and my girlfriend pulled her chair closer to the neighbor's brother. I watched in horror as she initiated an intimate session with him. Despite my disbelief, I chose not to confront them immediately. Returning to my bedroom, I grabbed my phone, hoping to capture evidence of their betrayal. However, as soon as I opened the camera app, they stopped kissing, and my neighbor came back outside. I managed to take some pictures, but they weren't clear enough. Once my neighbor went back inside, my girlfriend and the neighbor's brother resumed kissing. I was stunned, realizing I happened to be in the right place at the right time, but how long had this been going on? I couldn't comprehend it. I immediately called her cell phone, watching as she checked it and looked towards our house. It was too dark for her to see me in the dim room staring at her. She ignored my call, returning to flirting and touching the other guy. I was so furious I wanted to run downstairs and confront them, but I was frozen in shock and couldn't move. After a few minutes, they put out the fire, and my girlfriend said goodbye to the guy before walking back to our house through the fence gate. I heard her open the front door and stumble up the stairs, so I waited for her at the top of the staircase. She was surprised to see me awake, assuming I was asleep. She was obviously tipsy but still in control. I asked where she had been, and she claimed she was still at the party. Then I revealed that I had caught her kissing the neighbor's brother, and she tried to deny it, but I told her I had seen it with my own eyes and even had photographic proof. She started to cry, saying it was just a mistake and that she was drunk. I lacked the energy to argue with her that night, so I simply suggested she sleep in the other bedroom. However, I couldn't help but question how long this had been happening. It felt like I had uncovered a hidden world of hers, and I wasn't sure if there was more to it than just one kiss. That night was sleepless. I lay there staring at the ceiling, struggling to accept that my girlfriend had cheated on Menno once, but twice. Initially, she cheated on her ex-husband with one of his friends for 4 years, and now she was pursuing the neighbor's brother. Looking back, I should have seen it. A cheater tends to remain a cheater. As the saying goes, a leopard can't change its spots. I was thankful I discovered this before marrying her, and though she apologized profusely the next morning, it was too little, too late. The guy she cheated on me with was 38, and I happened to have his phone number. I messaged him, informing him that I saw him kissing my girlfriend. His response was cold, stating that trust had been broken and we should go our separate ways. It was difficult to argue with that, but I remained furious. I called him names and threatened him. Considering my background in bodybuilding, I'm confident he's afraid to show his face around here again. What stings even more is that I thought he was a decent guy. However, when she made a move on him, he backed away and let her do as she pleased. I pointed out that she initiated the kiss, and that it wouldn't have happened if she hadn't come on to him. Regardless, there's no turning back, and I'm ending this relationship. Fortunately, we have no financial ties or children together, allowing me to walk away relatively unscathed. But my heart is broken, and I can't help but wonder if they're still involved once I leave her. I'll make sure to inform all her friends and family about her actions, especially mentioning the ring I had bought for her that she'll never get to wear. The thing is, my girlfriend doesn't drink much, only about 3 times a month, and rarely gets drunk. I didn't mention the engagement ring I bought, and I plan to return it now. She expresses remorse and professes her love, but when I reflect on that night, I question how she could love me. Then she claims not to remember kissing the other guy, but it still hurts that she made the first move. I don't drink, so I witnessed everything and have blurry evidence on my camera confirming what I saw. She's no longer denying it and admits that it happened. Now, I'm not as hurt as before, but I sense myself becoming more resentful, distant, and somewhat mean. She keeps expressing a desire for us to get back together, but I can't shake the feeling that I failed as a man by allowing the woman I love to cheat on Minot once, but twice. I informed her that I'll leave her if she still wants the other guy, but she insists she doesn't and urges me to stop worrying about it. However, every time he's around, as he's the brother of our neighbor, I can't help but feel paranoid, wondering if she'd rather be with him. She suggested selling the house and moving away from the neighborhood, thinking that I'll always be reminded of that terrible night whenever he shows up. I haven't shared with my friends about being cheated on because admitting it is embarrassing. On another note, I'm a bit scared of what lies ahead. Finding a new place and being alone is intimidating, but I must ask myself, do I want to keep living in resentment, anger, and uncertainty, or face my fear of change knowing it will pass? Our current house is in her name, and it's only been years since we moved in. However, she can't afford the mortgage without me. She knows it and is scared. As for the guy she cheated with, he won't be moving here. He has his own house now and knows she's a cheater. I have to put on a brave face and pretend everything is normal, but inside, I'm seething with anger. How could she think I'm okay with what happened? When I asked her if the roles were reversed, would she leave me? She instantly said yes. The good news is leaving without financial ties or emotional baggage. She'll be crushed when I leave, but it's her decision. She threw away 5 years for a mere kiss with a younger, attractive guy. And now she faces the consequences. Honestly, I'm 90% sure I'll leave her. It's hard for me to look her in the face, and I don't believe her "I love you" anymore. She can be the neighborhood flirt for all I care, and that's probably all I'll use her for until I leave. That guy knew we were in a committed relationship. He's no better than my cheating ex-girlfriend. She'll be crushed when I pack my bags and walk out the door. I'll make sure all her friends and our neighbors know exactly what kind of person she is. But sometimes, I wonder if my lack of affection and not drinking were partly to blame. Even if that's true, it doesn't excuse her sneaking around behind my back. It was a clear case of seeking attention she thought I wasn't giving her. 2 weeks later, I'm in full-on moving mode, trying to get away from my cheating ex-girlfriend. She's still trying to act like everything is cool between us, but I know better. The sooner I can get out of this house and away from her, the better. I heard that the neighbor was throwing another party, and everyone was there except for the other man who kissed my girl. I haven't seen him since that fateful night, and it's getting harder and harder to hold my tongue and not bring it up to her. It was humiliating, but I already told the neighbors at the party about her infidelity. They now know to keep their eyes on their men around her. She won't stay in this neighborhood after I leave, and the shame of being caught and the fact that she can't afford the mortgage without me will drive her out. It's all her own doing. I just hope that kiss was worth losing me and her new house, because it's going to haunt her for a long time. In a week's time, I plan to pretend everything is fine with my girlfriend, but then I'll disappear without a trace, leaving a massive explanation of how she betrayed me and the fact that I had a ring waiting for her on Christmas. It's a good thing I found out about her cheating before we tied the knot, or things would have been way worse for me. I'm still haunted by the whole ordeal, and it happened 3 weeks ago. I went around to all the neighbors and spilled the beans about her infidelity. Some even mentioned she was flirting with the other guy before getting drunk. They promised not to tell her anything. She has a history of cheating and was in past relationships too. Her ex-husband was left in shambles after their divorce settlement. She used that money to make a down payment on our current house. Now, he's a mess and has been single for almost a decade. It's sickening that she stooped so low as to go after his friend. I don't know what I was thinking when I got involved with her. Leaving without saying anything might be the best course of action, but I can't help but feel that telling her about the engagement ring I had planned to give her would be a satisfying twist of the knife. The neighbors threw another party last night, and guess who showed up? The other man. I suggested my girlfriend join his party, but she got defensive, thinking I wanted to push her away. She refused to drink there anymore, but I suspected he texted her. When I asked, she got angry and denied it. The other man had a new girlfriend that night, but it was too dark to see if she was a neighbor or someone new. If he started dating her after making out with my girlfriend, I would have exposed what happened on Labor Day. When she wasn't around, I thought about confronting him, but I didn't want to end up in jail for roughing him up. Do I think it was the only time they kissed? I have doubts, but I'm not sure. As for closeness, I'm sure it didn't happen. I know her daily routine well, and there's no way it could have occurred, although I could be wrong. While looking for a new place, I couldn't find anything suitable. It bothers me that none of our neighbors has ever told me about her flirting with that guy. It makes me wonder if they're all hiding something. I know it sounds wrong, but I couldn't resist checking her phone. It felt like I was treating her like a teenager. She deleted his number, a red flag to me. She claims she's done partying there, but I bet as soon as I'm out, she'll be right back. It doesn't matter, though. The thought of her being with that guy will always haunt me. Some think she's keeping me around for the house, but I've known her for years, and I believe she truly regrets what she did. That being said, I'm not going to let her off the hook. She's going to feel the pain when I leave, and it won't just be about losing the house. She knows she messed up big time. I've been sleeping in a separate room and keeping my distance since the affair. As I broke the news that she had to sell the house, eventually I saw tears rolling down her cheeks, but it was nothing compared to the pain I had to bear. She finally realized that my heart was closed off to her forever. She even suggested that we sell the house to start anew, but what's the point? Infidelity can happen anywhere, and I don't want to waste my time and energy on something that will never work. I hate going back to our house in the neighborhood. It reminds me of the betrayal that took place. When she asked me why I felt that way, I didn't hold back and told her that it was the place where she cheated on me. People have been asking why she had the other man's number saved in her phone, and the answer is simple: he's just the brother of a neighbor. They needed to communicate for business purposes, but it's still unclear how long they've been talking to each other outside of that. As it turns out, the other man isn't a neighbor. He just crashes parties with his brother and sister-in-law. As for how he got my girlfriend's number, well, she and I run a side business refinishing and painting furniture, and he had asked us to work on a dresser. Of course, we needed his number to let him know when it was finished. I'm not sure how long it took for them to start communicating after he picked up his dresser, but honestly, at this point, I almost don't want to know. Back in my 20 seconds and 30 seconds, I might have sought revenge on her by being with someone else, recording it and showing her. But I've matured since then and know that responding with wrongdoing doesn't make things right. After spending years with someone, it's going to be challenging to be alone once I move out. It's something I'll have to deal with, I suppose. I'll be relocating a couple of cities away from here. I've already moved some of my stuff into storage, so when I'm ready to leave for good, which will be soon, hopefully I'll be able to do the rest by myself. It's definite that I'm moving out. There's no turning back. I don't have any family left in this state. My parents are gone. This weekend they had another party, and guess who showed up? The other man. I bet they were all whispering and snickering about me behind my back. It was tough, but I managed to resist the urge to storm over there and do something I would later regret. Disrespect is something I can't stand for. Last night, I confronted her, demanding to know the real reason why she cheated on me. I didn't buy her drunk excuse for a second. Her response was vague: "I don't want him, believe me," and she gave me no real explanation for her actions. I even suggested that if she thinks he's better looking than me, she can have him, but who knows, maybe I'm overthinking it. Soon. Enough. I'll be out of here and ready to start a new chapter in my life. Meanwhile, her life is about to take a major hit. Second story. After nearly 25 years of marriage, approaching our 20th anniversary next year, I faced a devastating revelation just over a week ago. It all began innocently. I made some raw cookie dough for a snack and sat down while it chilled. My husband's phone was on the coffee table, playing an ad on Words with Friends. Playfully, I decided to use his account to play a low word on his game. As I waited for the ad to finish, I realized he might catch me near his phone, so I switched to his texts. The conversation had only initials, not a full name, discussing a trial related to his work. However, it took a turn when he mentioned his parents' adopted dog, and the person responded, "Aw, that is so cute." My stomach dropped, and just then he walked around the corner as my phone rang. In haste, I put his phone back and took the call in the bedroom, which was from my sister. As he came in towards the end of the call, I hung up and asked him about the initials. He persistently lied until I insisted on checking his phone, and he promptly deleted the thread about the trial and the dog. As the loading line slowly progressed across the screen, I held my husband's phone and pleaded for honesty. He kept denying that there was anything to reveal until the line was almost complete, and he finally said, "Her name is AP, and she lives in our old state." After reading through the deleted texts, I managed to piece together the truth. He met her at a retirement party for a coworkera gathering I couldn't attend because our dog was sick and had to be put down. While he was away the night after the party, he texted her that he was on his way back to his hotel in an Uber, arriving sooner than she and another female coworker heading back home. She responded that they were too tired to drive, and he texted back, telling her to come to the hotel. She asked if he wanted her to come, and he responded with, "You need to get y'all home, I understand." It was painful to read, especially with the poor grammar. He sent her a message the day after the party expressing how much he enjoyed watching her sleep and how soft her skin and hair were. Throughout the weekend, he updated her on his plans, boasting about having fun without going too far. She admitted to noticing how touchy-feely he was. When he returned home, he told her he'd been having a hard time since he got back, missing her and being happy only at work. However, her responses were not particularly enthusiastic. For instance, when he said, "I miss you," she responded with, "Oh yeah?" Then he asked, "Do you miss me?" And she answered yes. Most of her responses were one-word answers like, "That's nice, you don't say," or This isn't the first time this has happened in our marriage. It occurred in year 6 and year 8, leading us to therapy to address boundaries and the realization that flirting and keeping in touch with someone outside of the marriage is infidelity. According to him, he cheated this time because he felt lonely in our old state. Since I moved to our new state 3 years ago, we spent 2 years flying back and forth, waiting for his job transfer. He claims he started talking to her around February 2020 when she joined their office, but it remained innocent until the weekend of the party in July 2020. Since then, he has been with me here in our new state. I've already initiated divorce proceedings and told him to move out next week. Now he's begging me to take him back, promising individual therapy to overcome his urge to cheat and lie. I reminded him that the first time he cheated was supposed to be the last, and the second time was also supposed to be the last. So why would this time be any different? Update today, we officially initiated the divorce process. It's expected to be completed in about a month. He agreed to give me everything I requested, and both of us are undergoing individual counseling. While he's reading not just Friends, I'm reading Leave a Cheater, Gain a Life. He moved into his own apartment, but we've arranged for our dogs to have occasional playdates. He desires reconciliation, but I cannot. The memories of his affair are too painful to overlook. I even had a dream where he acted violently, and I responded by reminding him that such actions were unprecedented. Strangely, his affair partner said the same after spending a night together at a friend's house, following a coworker's retirement party. I can't forget the hurtful things he said and did with her. She got the optimistic, flirty guy, while I got someone who came home exhausted every day, attributing it to demanding work. Initially, he portrayed himself as a sufferer to gain her sympathy, but now he admits those were lies. My so-called friends have been unhelpful, warning me about the challenging dating scene and predicting loneliness. And my family situation is equally troublesome, with my sister trying to leave her husband for an affair partner who is already married with kids. Meanwhile, my mother sympathizes with my cheating husband, suggesting he needs to make it up to me. It's ironic, given her history of cheating on my father, leading to their divorce years ago. The only person I can confide in is my father, but even then, I'm hesitant to admit how scared and anxious I am about leaving the only romantic relationship I've had since I was 16. I plan to take a trip to see my brother in a sunny state, hoping it'll provide me with some clarity. My father bluntly states that my soon-to-be ex-husband is a grown man who knew right from wrong and chose the latter. Initially, I thought I could stay civil until I got what I wanted, but now I'm unsure. While we technically don't need to be in contact anymore since everything's been sorted out, I'm not quite ready for complete no contact. I don't want to reconcile, but maybe. There's a way for gradual detachment. On March 3, 2022, our divorce was finalized and I was granted everything, including the house equity and alimony. As we started settling into our new lives, we agreed to remain friends. During the divorce process, we assisted each other by watching each other's dogs during travels or work, and we even spent time at each other's places for a post-mortem on our relationship to heal. My therapist approved, provided we set clear boundaries. She advised waiting at least 6 months before starting to date again, considering my vulnerability. I discussed this with my ex, and we agreed it would be easier to hear about each other's dating lives directly. He claims he has no interest in dating and still wants me back, even after I explore other options. He also promised not to date anyone until after I had started dating, ensuring there's no possibility of reconciliation. It was just another ordinary evening when I had his dog over at my house, and out of nowhere, Facebook suggested that I be friends with his coworker's girlfriend. I wasn't even friends with his coworker, so I assumed he was, and surely he was. My mind started racing, and I became convinced that he was messaging her and flirting, replicating what had caused the end of our 20-year marriage. When he arrived to pick up the dog, I couldn't resist the temptation and asked if I could take a look at his phone at my proudest moment. He handed it over, and to my relief, I found no direct messages with her. However, he was texting 2 other women, claiming they were just friends. He questioned why I was so upset, even though we were already divorced and it was evident we wouldn't reconcile. He wasn't dating anyone either. We had agreed to keep each other informed if we started dating, but that wasn't the case here. I explained my upset, mentioning it was triggering for me. It was painful that he claimed zero interest in moving on, yet was secretly talking to a woman at work. The issue wasn't him talking to others, it was his deceitful behavior resurfacing. I attempted to maintain a friendship with my ex-husband, but it wasn't straightforward. Facebook suggested being friends with his coworker's girlfriend, making me wonder if he was secretly flirting with her. Requesting to see his phone, I discovered he was texting 2 women, claiming they were just friends. In our discussion, we agreed that keeping secrets wouldn't work if we wanted to sustain a friendship. For a few days, he shared his location and plans, making me feel more secure. However, when I asked if he'd be upset about me visiting a single male friend alone, he admitted he would be. Denying any wrongdoing, he asserted the female coworker was just a supportive friend. Upon asking to see his phone again, I found he had lied. Although turning down her invitation, He planned to visit her office the next day and expressed an interest in seeing her place. It was evident he wasn't entirely honest, raising doubts about maintaining our friendship. He attempted to defend his secretive behavior, stating he talks to female coworkers the same way he talks to male coworkers. I agreed, but reminded him she's not just a friend, she's the person he hurt and traumatized. I emphasized my right to set boundaries and protect myself from triggers in exchange for the privilege of being his friend. I broke down in tears, expressing hurt over his involvement in potentially romantic relationships despite our agreement to be transparent. The conversation concluded with him leashing her dog, subtly indicating he wanted me to leave. Fed up with feeling used, I took my dog and informed him that I wouldn't be doing him any more favors, including watching his dog or helping with his truck. He responded with an okay, indicating he didn't genuinely care about losing me as a friend. Entering my house, guilt overcame me. Why did I mention the dog? I didn't want to lose my furry companion, but I also didn't want to see his face. Using a dog door, I texted him a compromise. He could drop off and pick up the dog from the yard without me having to face him. Regret overwhelmed me like a tidal wave. Why didn't I listen to everyone who advised me to cut him off completely? I thought I could handle being friends and setting boundaries, but I was mistaken. I believed I was healing, but the pain feels as raw as it did on December 21st.